Welcome once again, one and all, to my channel, where we are going to review another male fragrance from our extensive collection of scents. As ever, thank you so much for your continued support and encouragement as I embark upon my fledgling YouTube career. Your kind sentiments and compliments will help to encourage the progress of my channel from its current infancy stage. Today's fragrance is one of, if not the, most popular scents currently in the UK. I often smell this fragrance on other men whom I work with or pass by on the streets, which speaks of its commonality and universality. I speak, of course, as you can tell by the fragrance and shot, of the notorious Dior Sauvage. Whether it is because Johnny Depp advertised this fragrance and his enduring popularity as an actor, the way perfume outlets have showcased and sold this tincture, or the actual aroma itself, its prevalence is quite outstanding and astounding. It is definitely one of the most versatile, all-season, all-age type of fragrances that I have reviewed thus far on my channel. Additionally, the reception which it engenders from people when you have it on is extremely and widely positive. You probably won't struggle to get a compliment if you are wearing this fragrance, although you might if that person is at least vaguely cognizant of fragrances and has smelt this one previously. In terms of the type of person I think it is most ideally suited to, it is probably a younger man looking for a more playful scent, which is quite a safe and secure investment as a signature scent, which he can use in the summer or winter months alike, with relatively similar degrees of success. As you might expect from a fragrance with such enduring and widespread popularity, the initial scent is retained for quite some time after spraying, so it will still be very poignant and noticeable as you are going about your day-to-day life. Once again, as I've alluded to previously, if you are looking to indulge in any physical activity or exertion of any kind, this particular scent does perform well even under those strenuous situations and conditions, as I said, so that's probably another reason why it is very, very popular with many and a multitude of people. As usual, for those of you who are wondering about the rough cost or price of this particular product, I have looked briefly, a quick perusal of Google and other search engines, and seen that it is about the £50 sterling mark in good old British or UK money. Once again, obviously that is potentially putting it on the rather more expensive or exorbitant side of the fragrances which I've reviewed, what one might call high street fragrances. And really I think that is potentially a case of where if the demand for a product is high, then of course the manufacturer or the brand or the retailer can indeed charge quite a bit extra in order for you to secure its services. Really, as is often the case when you are looking to purchase any particular item, even if that's not necessarily a fragrance, you have to really weigh up the pros and the cons and establish whether the benefits of the particular product which you're attaining are indeed worth its particular cost. So really what we are trying to look at today within this review, and of course you guys can make up your minds once again for yourself, is whether Dior Sauvage really does merit the popularity which it has within consumers, and is it really worth that extra price that you're paying compared to some of the less expensive options which I've already spoken about on my channel, will continue to speak about. As always, what I would say though, as a particular caveat or an additional point to this discussion about its price, is that it is always very beneficial to shop around when you are looking at fragrances to find the best deal available. I am of course referring to how some of the outlets on here will have offers and sales and gift set options which can result in a lowered price and less cost for you, the consumer. Now, this particular fragrance was released just over 3 years ago in 2015. The fragrance's prevalence has been remarkable, And of course, it does seem to have displaced, at least in my own humble opinion, the other fragrance, which was quite a trendy fragrance and quite common, which in the UK was Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Again, most of my sort of UK viewers will be very familiar with the fact that Paco Rabanne's 1 Million was everywhere, and it does seem it's very similar with Dior Sauvage as well. Now, for me, when I have used this particular fragrance, which I do seldom use, I think it's not one that I use on a regular basis, simply because, as I said, I don't particularly like to blend in with other people, especially with my particular interest in fragrances. Is that you can obviously tell that the scent is very pleasant, but it is so overused sometimes that when I do find myself smelling on a passerby, I do sometimes almost find myself retching or getting physically sick because I have smelled it so often, and it can be, especially if you use copious amounts of it, can be quite overpowering and overbearing. Now, once again, of course, therein lies in and of itself another of the fragrance tips and hints which I wish to pass on through my channel. Whatever the temptation is, please, to all my viewers, whether you're a gentleman or a lady, please do not, even if you love a scent, douse yourself in it as much as possible, because too much of a fragrance can be just as sickly and off-putting as any other smell, even if it's less pleasant. I don't think there is many scents, or indeed any that I can relatively think of, where if there is too much of it, that you won't also feel sick, because as I sort of mentioned in another of my previous videos, the olfactory sense, or the sense of smell, is very much one of our most powerful, if not our most powerful sense that we have. And so, as I said, sometimes a little a little less can be much more effective, and certainly I would say that's the case with fragrances. Now, as ever, what I've done for is I've researched the particular ingredients within this scent or fragrance, and from basenotes.net we're looking at the top notes of the fragrance being Calabrian bergamot, Sichuan pepper, with heart notes of star anise, nutmeg and lavender, and completing that triumvirate are the base notes of Papua New Guinean vanilla and ambroxan. Now, slightly more in depth pertaining to those ingredients, the pepper in particular definitely does give it that sharp initial scent, whilst those sort of nutmeg and lavender heart notes provide soothing balm through its lifespan upon a wearer's skin. Now, as we sort of move in to the particular bottle, as we always do when we're judging sometimes the aesthetic sensibilities of a fragrance, we are looking for at a bottle that definitely does have that subtle class, elegance and sophistication which one would expect of a premier brand such as Dior. It has a very simple design, one might say, which I think does befit its masculine clientele, with the dark colours, obviously the sort of blacks and the whites, definitely sort of emphasising, reinforcing that particular message or image. Now, sort of in summation, we're now coming to my overall rating for this particular fragrance, and for me, I think we're looking at a solid 7 out of 10. You will see definitely other particular fragrance reviewers, or other people who you might socialise with, will definitely rave about this fragrance or suggest it or commend it. But sometimes I think it's one of those things where it has become so common that you really it's lost its sort of luster really for me. Certainly it does have many good facets to it, which I've already spoken about, but at least in my own humble opinion, when it does come to fragrances, we have a modicum of originality and individuality within ourselves, and we want to stand out, as I said, from the general masses. If we are particularly serious about fragrances and indeed smelling divine, so to speak. Simply put, be better, in my own words, be better than Dior Sauvage. Now, thank you all once again for tuning in for another review of my own. Your continued viewership is very important to me, and I'm extremely glad, as always, to be able to bring you content which I'm very passionate about. Many thanks, and take care, everyone.